Hello, I'm Melody Pash, the Dream Diva, and I want to welcome you to this episode today. Today I have with me my friend Pauline Henning, who does a very unique, intuitive inner healing modality, and I'm going to get her to talk to you about it.
Hi Melody. I had kind of an embarrassing bathroom toilet dream. I wanted to go wash all the toilets in my house, but when I went into the bathroom, the toilets were pulled and they were all in the living room, completely disconnected. I was so frustrated because I knew that I just wanted to maintain those toilets.
So we're going to talk about the dream we just heard, and Pauline, I'm just going to recap that dream. That was a really interesting dream. Sort of a common dream because lots of people have dreams about, of course, commodes and needing to relieve themselves, right? So the dreamer apparently is wanting to clean all the bathrooms, but when they go to the bathrooms to clean the toilets are all pulled and all out sitting in the living room, like a public area, right? Which is kind of strange. So we're just going to talk about how you might work with somebody that would have a dream like this. What do you think about the dream, and what might be something that you would do in your modality of inner healing, finding whatever it is you're looking for in the process? What might they look like?
Yeah, like you said, that is a very common dream, and it comes up a lot.
Yeah.
And what we usually do is, like you said, also is that we just go to spirit and you know, because spirit knows,
Right?
and the reason you have gotten the dream is because spirit wants you to deal with something,
Exactly.
right? And so we just go by his lead. So sometimes it's generational.
Oh.
You'll get something from the past.
Okay.
And sometimes it'll be something in that person's, life, something that happened in that person's life, and they usually know. Like, they'll usually get a sense, oh yeah, this thing happened, when I was a child or something like that.
Wow.
And then, and it's also something that happened that they believed a lie about.
Okay.
Like, so because they believe that lie, then they're living this thing that's not
Okay.
even true.
Okay. Okay.
Right?
So are you saying that because of the lie, they actually experience a conditioning that causes them to react differently to life in general?
Right, just in different scenarios throughout their life, maybe something would trigger that memory.
Okay.
And because of that, because they're believing the wrong thing about it.
Oh, wow. Lies are really detrimental, aren't
Yes.
they? Even those self-deceptions.
It just is so helpful once we can identify what's that we believed that
Okay.
was not even true.
Right.
And then once we can identify that, then we can sort of cut it off, so to speak.
Right.
And then, in addition, then we go back to the spirit and we ask the spirit, what's the truth about that situation?
Oh, that's good.
And when you can get the truth,
Right.
then you get the freedom.
Right.
And once you get the freedom, then you're just flowing
Wow.
in the way that you were created to flow.
Triggered. Isn't it interesting how we can almost build a construct around a lie. Like our responses, our reactions, the way we live, the way we operate, the way we move and breathe sometimes, even based upon a lie about our lives. And it can change our whole framework, right?
Right, exactly.
It's very interesting. Another interesting part about the dream is the dreamer was aware that there needed to be some maintenance on the filtering systems,
Right.
or the places where you would have release, right? Which to me would be like a mode of deliverance or inner healing, right? But they were all disconnected from a release of the refuse, so there was nowhere to put the lies or the issues and get rid of them, right? So they're disconnected, sitting in a public place, and they can't be maintained. Do you think that the commodes, the toilets, water closets, if we were in Europe, would actually represent a filter of some sort in some areas? Could it reflect
Sure.
that way, like be a filter, like where you would filter something out to be releasing? What do you think about that?
Yeah, that's a really good take on that dream, I believe. So we need the correct filter, right?
Mhm, yeah.
In order to process.
And a clean filter.
A clean filter, right?
Right.
In order to process whatever that was that happened.
Right.
So that we can get rid of it.
Right.
But if we filter it through something that's already been a little dirty or clogged up,
Right.
it's gonna not be able to be released.
Right. And then you've got a negative and what I would
Right.
call a defiled residue, which again affects your emotions, the way you live,
Right.
and all of those triggers. But I love the dream because the dreamer understands, like you were saying earlier, understands that there is an issue that needs to be dealt with because they knew they needed to be cleaning these areas of filtering and of release, of deliverance, but then there was no way to do that. What do you think too about those commodes being our water closets, toilets, all being right out in the middle of the living room where you actually have guests or where you're seen so broadly or so easily or so publicly? What do you think about that? Do you think we fear that
exposed.
happening? Yes, that being exposed, those
Yeah.
issues.
Well, absolutely, we fear that because those are such personal things that don't
Right.
belong necessarily in front of everyone.
Right,
They're more private.
right, right.
So, although
It's hard to be authentic though sometimes, don't you
it's
think?
okay sometimes because we all experience the same thing.
Right.
And so to be
You're
exposed.
not alone.
Yeah, you're not exactly, and it's okay.
Right?
It's okay, and sometimes sometimes these bathroom dreams might look a little different,
Yeah.
might not be exactly the dream that was told, but I just have found that all those bathroom dreams usually indicate, not being able to go or being blocked or being exposed or people
Right.
watching you,
Right.
all sort of the same issues that need to be dealt with. Something needs to be cleansed.
Something needs to be dealt with.
Yeah.
And you're talking about the blockages. That
Yeah.
is a really interesting thought because I used to have a dream where I would go and, have the right movement. We're going to get right down there, right? But we had the right movement and the whole thing, but the toilet will not flush. It won't flush. And I'm like, oh my God! Somebody's going to come in after me and it's not going to have flush. Or worse, how many of you have had dreams or experiences where you actually went to the bathroom and then you flush and the bathroom overflows?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Is that not the worst? I mean, those things, and we are, those are areas where we really do we get very much exposed or revealed, and people get to see our very authentic or our genuine selves. But there's also a place of, when we're still in that area of needing the healing, needing to release, we're very raw, right?
Mhm.
I find myself very raw. I don't want to share myself with people, really anybody, even people I know well, if I'm feeling very raw. That just doesn't feel good. Right. Well, that was a great dream, and I love this discussion, Pauline, and I think we'll have some questions coming up.
Melody, I have a question. What are some of the most common lies? Here's another question. Why are lies hidden, and why can't I see them?
Wow, that's a good question. The most common lies and why they are hidden. Pauline, what do you think the most common lies are? What would you say the most common are?
Well, I find that a very common one is if something happens from your childhood and you lose trust in authority, your mom or your father, your mother or
Parental,
father. I find there, and so once you've believed a lie about an experience that happened with your mother or father, then that always filters how you view what creator or spirit might be to you.
Oh, that's good.
So I find that is the most detrimental, really, because
Sure.
if we are disconnected from Creator, then
Right.
we're
You're
disconnected
disconnected,
from ourselves.
right.
So,
Which, again, connects to the toilets, I guess. And what about why they are hidden? Why they are hidden? What would you say about that?
well, because oftentimes we don't have the strategies to deal with these things,
Good,
and that's why we need help from Spirit
sure.
and other people.
Sure, absolutely. I think for me, when they're hidden, personally, and with people that I work with sometimes, it's something that is so familiar to them that they just don't notice it. You know, one of those things that just cozies up to you, and it's like you don't even notice that it's like out of the ordinary or it shouldn't be there. What do you think?
Yeah, I think that's true. Yeah, you're right. It's just so close you can't even see it,
Right?
right?
Can't
Yeah.
see the forest for the trees.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what I had. Here's a question for Pauline. How do I know I'm free?
What does freedom feel like? That's such a good question. Pauline, do you think that every time you get free, you like feel free, like emotionally? You have an emotion that you really feel, or is it more practical than that? What does freedom look like? What does that look like?
Well, I've heard some people say, "Oh, I feel so free. I feel something's been lifted."
Wow.
So sometimes there is an emotion,
Okay.
but sometimes no recognizable emotion at the time.
Right.
But then maybe they go throughout their life, you know, within a day or two or maybe a week, and something that would usually trigger that negative or, you know,
Oh yeah.
negative emotion or negative response
Yeah.
doesn't bother them anymore.
So it's not inflamed anymore. Like the
Right.
infection's gone.
Right.
That makes so much
Right.
sense.
And
I
then they're
love that.
free from that, what used to irritate them or cause them anger or whatever
That is
is no
so,
longer there.
That's good.
Yeah.
That's really good.
If I have a bathroom dream, how do I know what lie I'm dealing with?
Okay, how do you know when you're in a bathroom dream what it is that you need to get rid of? That is a loaded question, isn't it, Pauline? Because it's different, I think, for everybody. What do you think? How do you think they get what I call a 411, that information call, right? How do you think they know? How do we know what it is that we're looking for when we have a dream like that? How do we know?
Well, we just go to Spirit and ask Spirit
Okay.
to reveal what it is. So we ask for the basic, the very first time
Oh.
that this incident happened.
Okay.
And then it gets dealt with there, at the very first time.
Okay, is the first time about where it's rooted? Is
Yeah.
it rooted from there? Okay.
Right, the origination of it.
Okay.
And so it might be in your own life, like we said before,
Wow.
or it might be generational. It
Wow.
might be from the past.
Wow,
So that's something that Spirit will reveal.
right. And
Yeah.
he's really good to do that. He wants to do that,
Yeah.
right?
Oh, yeah.
I love that. And that original, you know, anything from the original is really important. And what you do is about getting people back to their original design or state, right?
Right, exactly.
Great. So I just want to encourage you guys, if you're interested in getting with Pauline Henning, she's awesome, then I'm going to leave some information at the end of the video, so take it down. Thanks so much for watching. I appreciate you joining me.